Today officially marks my 1 year anniversary in the corporate workforce. Can't believe how quickly a year goes by, and I guess this is what everybody warns you about when you start working, that you have another 40 years to go of this. So, you don't need to get too excited about jumping into work right away. And I know that I talk to my former self a lot to try to give lessons that I wish that I had known prior. But today I think I have a lesson for my future self. The other day, coming off of Memorial Day weekend, an extra long weekend, out here in Pittsburgh, you might be able to tell, but the weather's not great. It is very rainy right now, and it's going to rain for the rest of the week, but it was supposed to rain for like all of this past weekend, where we had an extra day off. We had Monday off for Memorial Day. And fortunately, the weather hung out for us, and it was nice and sunny, 65 degrees. That's my perfect temperature outside. And I was talking to a coworker on the day back after the weekend, just asking them how their weekend went, how they enjoyed, the weather in Pittsburgh. And that was something that I was grateful for, that I shared. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just grateful for enjoying the sun. Glad the rain held out for us, and really just enjoyed it because, now we have this rain and you don't get that many nice days in Pittsburgh that often. So just tried to enjoy it while it lasted. And my coworker, who is a fair bit older, said, oh yeah, that's kind of how a lot of life is. You kind of just enjoy the things you have until they get taken from you. And I didn't really know how to respond to that, to be honest, because it's kind of a depressing, morbid way to look at life. And that really kind of just sucker punched me in the face, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody be that real and raw, I guess, with it. Because most people exchange pleasantries in the office, oh, how's your weekend? How's your day going? Oh, it's good. How about you? That's kind of the best that you get out of it. Maybe here and there you'll hear something somebody's looking forward to or excited about, but very, very seldom have I ever gotten that response where, people are just straight up, man, I hate life kind of thing. And I guess my calling or message for my future self going through the whole corporate America thing is to hopefully avoid that. I hope that you never become somebody who has that type of outlook on life. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, right? I'm sure after 10, 20, 30 years of doing this thing, it can eat away at you for sure. And people they just have such a distaste for anything that they're doing, really, or the corporate life in general. But maybe for some reason, I don't know, golden handcuffs, they have too many expenses to pay where they just need to work their 9-to-5 job and, in order to pay their bills, which I understand how you could get to that place in life. And I'm not saying that your job has to be the thing that brings you joy, but maybe it's even just like not showing kinks in the armor or cracks in the armor. Maybe that's not a good way to look at it either, because then you're not really being yourself or genuine or authentic if you can never have a bad day. And I'm not, this guy who I was talking to, he's a good guy, but I don't know, just sharing something like that, or even saying that out loud, I don't even know if I could bring myself to say that to myself in private, like that type of outlook on life, because maybe it's just me being naive or still too young to it all. But I don't think that mindset would ever serve me or anybody, really, thinking that life is really only just enjoying the little things you have until they're taken away from you. He just said it in a very depressing and somber tone, so it didn't really inspire much hope. And I think you can tell usually when people are are joking and lighthearted with things, but that's just something that a negative outlook on life. You know, there are people in life that have to play that role for you in your life, and otherwise, you know, everything would be sunshine and rainbows if everybody all the time around you was only looking at the positive. So obviously you have to come around those people every now and then to remind you that there's other outlooks on life and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, I would just never want to adopt that mentality for myself, and I hope that you never do either, unless you think it serves you. If it does, more power to you. But that's kind of what I wanted to get out there for my future self, whether that be in this same job, you know, 10, 15, 20 years from now, or it's on a much more adventurous path. Who knows? Another happening with work. This is all work related because I'm celebrating 1 year. I got my automated letter from the CEO of the company saying, "Hey, congratulations on your 1 year." Besides the point, some of the other people that I sit around on the day to day, you know, I don't always sit next to the same people every day, because in the office you can kind of sit wherever, but there's sometimes coworkers who I'll sit near and I don't know, they kind of just like put me on edge a little bit. They have this frustration with the work, the systems, the technology, which is completely understandable. Technology's great, but not when it's not working. It's not your friend at that moment in time. But having emotional outbursts during work hours and sitting shoulder to shoulder with coworkers. Again, I'm not saying that you can't be human in the workplace, but and maybe it's just because I'm so new to it all that it's like, oh man, people raging at their monitors shouldn't surprise you, but that's something that kind of does surprise me and really puts me on edge when I'm sitting next to them, because, you know, I don't know, I would never want to show outward frustration, especially as something as minuscule and meaningless as the computer or the software that we're working on. Like, that sometimes that's just out of your control, and yes, I can understand being frustrated and upset with it, but to be visibly and outwardly like cursing at the laptop and, you know, just not like making a scene, but, you know, that maybe this is more of showing the cracks in the armor type of thing. Like, I feel like I just hope that I never display that in the workplace, whether that be in a leadership capacity or even just doing my day-to-day job. I don't think that inspires a great work environment, right? But, you know, maybe I'm being too idealistic about how corporate America is, and, you know, on the bounce of probabilities, most people that are doing their jobs over 5-10 years probably don't like what they're doing. Again, I'm not saying that there's not outliers of people who love what they do every single day, wake up with a smile on their face, ready to make a difference in their work. But I think I'm pretty certain that is not most people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, again, but I don't know. It's just odd to me showing that type of frustration, anger outwardly around your coworkers. And if you're not really doing anything to change your situation, if you really hate it that much, I don't know, just seems like I just get confused by that. So I think that's all I wanted to share. 1 year in corporate America has been great. Treated me kindly. I've gotten to do some really cool things with my job, and I'm super grateful for all the opportunities that have been afforded to me. especially with the state of the job market, being in the financial industry, not everybody gets to enjoy the blessings that I have had, especially 1 year out of my career, or 1 year into my career and 1 year out of college. So yeah, definitely still want to be grateful and express gratitude to the things that I've received in this life, but that's not to say I didn't work for them. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.